try to zoom in on this proof. Alright. Alright, we got the given is AD bisects BAC and angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. So let's start with the first given, and that's your first one. So AD bisects angle BAC. So what that means is it cuts this in half. So those are congruent. Okay? So the first thing is it's a given. Always the given is always your first one. And then what does the given give you? That's your second one. So your second one is always whatever this tells you. Well, it tells me that these are congruent. So, and it tells me that these are labeled, right? Which one's number 1? 1, 2, and then, so this is 1, and this is 2, and this is 3. Okay? So that means that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. Okay? And the reason I have that is the definition of an angle bisector. Okay? Of an angle bisector. Right? And so next, I'm going to go to 3. And 3 is going to tell me more from 2 if I can. If I can. But okay, I've got that. They're congruent. Alright, I don't really need anything more because what I'm trying to prove is these two are congruent. So what I'm going to try to take here is the second given and see if I can get anything from that. So the second given is angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Okay? And that's just given again. Alright? So angle 1 is congruent. So can I get anything from that? Right? And so let's use this purple and say, okay, wait a minute here. I see something. These two are the same. And if this equals this and this equals this, then these have to equal each other. But what gives me that formula, right? And I have to remember if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. And that's the transitive property. Okay? I want to keep that in my notes somewhere, telling me, because that's the hard one to remember, right? So that means if the two ones that are the same are B, right? So I'm just going to label this B and this B. Okay? Now, if B equals A and B equals C, right? So if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C, right? So then I get the last step, 4. I get that A, or angle 2, is congruent to angle 3. And that's transitive. Okay? Now, the flow chart. Start with number 1, because I'm done because this is the proof. This is the same as this. Okay? So now I do the flow chart, and I start with number 1. Okay? So I'm going to start with number 1. And number 1 flows to number 2. Okay? Number 1 flows to 2. But then I started up 3 all by itself. Right? But then I was able to get 4. Right? 4 came from 3 and 2. And that's the flow chart. Okay? So 4 was able to come from 3 and from 2 to give me the flow chart. And we'll go one more overall over the whole thing. Right? So we got that. We got the conditional statement. We have biconditional. We have the statement reduced to a symbolic statement. We have our symbols. We have our algebraic proof. And now we have our proof. And we have our flow chart.